Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing my September wrap up, and in the month of September I read 18 books. Now unfortunately I don't have all 18 books to show you physically because I have gotten rid of some or some that I was lending. So the first 3 books I read in the month of September was The Iron Daughter, The Iron Queen and The Iron Knight by Julie Kukar. Now these are the last 3 books in the Iron Fae series. I have done a review on this series on my channel, so I'll leave a link to that down below. But basically I did like this series. I thought it was okay. I think I rated this book, I think I rated these last books 4 out of 5 stars and the first book 3 out of 5 stars. They were okay. As I said, I have done a proper review of that if you would like to see my proper thoughts on these series. Then I read The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. If you don't know what this book is about, have you never seen the movie? I don't understand. But yes, it was pretty good, enjoyable for a children's fairy tale book, I guess. And then I read Perfect Murder, Perfect Town, and I rated that book 3 stars. It was basically about the murder of Joan Bennett and who the author thought she did it. I thought the book was really interesting. I don't have it here to show you because I did borrow it. However, my only complaint was it was basically like 800 pages long. It was a really thick, dense book, and at the end they had no clue who did it. So I reckon it could have been cut down a lot of useless information in that book and I would have enjoyed it a lot better. Or at least tell me who you think did it at least. Then I read Where She Went, the sequel to If I Stay by Gail Forman, and I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fantastic conclusion to the series and it was everything I could have hoped for. Then I read Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, and I have done a review on this on my channel and I rated this book 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic. It's basically about this virtual reality game and this boy who plays it and a hidden Easter egg and all this fun stuff and jewels, and I have done a review on it, so if you want my more concise thoughts and exactly what I thought of this book, you can watch my review on it. But as I said, I loved it. Then I read Love Letters to the Dead, which again I have done a review on my channel before, but this is by Ava Deliria. I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It is basically about a girl who writes letters to dead people who died tragically and young. And it's kind of like she tells her life and her story throughout these letters. And if you would like my proper thoughts and views on this book, you can check out my review. Then I read The Phillip Island Murder, the true account of a brutal killing, and I rated that book 4 stars. I thought it was really interesting. However, I did not keep it enough because it was one of those books where you're just gonna read it and then it's not really got rereadable valuable. Again, it was one of those books where it was like, did the killer actually really kill the person? It was kind of very questionable, like the Joan Bennett one, and so I found that slightly annoying, but it was interesting. Next I read We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lone Shiver, and I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was really interesting. This book is basically about a boy named Kevin who started a school shooting and he killed 7 of his classmates and like 2 teachers or something like that. And it's basically following his mother, I think 2 years later, and her trying to come to terms as to why he did it and counting all these stuff like about his childhood and his present and everything, and it was a really interesting book. Then I read Let's Go Play at the Adams. I can't remember who this is by, but I read it 1 out of 5 stars. It was basically about these 4 children who kidnapped and tortured and raped a babysitter. These 4 children were like 12 years old. This story made absolutely no sense. It wasn't written very well. It was just very disturbing to read about this 12-year-old raping this babysitter. It was just a very disturbing and not even a very good plot or story either. The plot also had a very lot of holes in it and I did not enjoy it, so I got rid of it. Then I read The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, and I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it and I will be doing a review on this shortly, so look out for that. But yes, I thought it was fantastic. If you don't know who Holly Black and Cassandra Clare are, I don't know where you've been. Have you ever heard of the Mortal Instruments series, City of Bones? That's what Cassandra Clare writes, and Holly Black Ross writes The Coldest Girl in Koreatown, and they've come together and wrote a middle grade fantasy book, so what's not to love? The next book I read was Shift by M. Bailey, and I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars. It's a young adult kind of psychological thriller, and it kind of reminded me of Miradara in the fact that you can think something's real and then halfway through the book you can realise that it's not real, and it's very psychological and everything like that. I have never heard of this book and it was quite interesting, I guess. It kind of was creepy, but it had kind of a question at the end, was like, did this really happen? Was this person really evil? It was just a very, I guess, something that really mucks up with your mind, and for that I actually kind of really enjoyed it. But I did rate it 3 out of 5 stars as I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to be. But I don't really know what I was expecting in this book, because my thoughts just got turned upside down reading this. Then I read Helpless by Marina Marsh, and it's a true story of a neglected girl betrayed and exploited by the neighbour she trusted. I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. It was at times very hard to read. Obviously it's about a little girl being like raped basically by her neighbour, and just her parents' situation and her family life isn't the greatest. But I do find memoirs like this interesting. Then I read Tell Me I'm Here by Anne Davison, and it is a memoir also about a mother recounting her son's past with schizophrenia and how she dealt with it. It's a true story, and I really did enjoy this book, as I don't really think that much about schizophrenia. Like, I don't really know much about it, and I don't know how it affects the people that deal with it, not only the person who has it but the people around them too. And I just found this book really interesting. It was really sad at times, but I found it really interesting, and if this is something that sounds interesting to you, I would recommend it. Then I read The 10 Best Days of My Life by Aidan Helpler, and I rated this book 3 stars. It was just basically an adult chick lit, light, really fluffy read. I wanted something really light and fluffy after all the kind of true stories that I'd been reading that are really, you know, hard and mentally draining to read. So I wanted something really fluffy to read, and this was exactly what I wanted. It's basically about a girl who goes to heaven, and she has to write about her 10 best days on earth, and it kind of makes you think about what's important and what's not. And I kind of thought about what my 10 best days would be, and I had no clue. So yeah. And the last book I read in the month of September was Prodigy by Maria Lu, and I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. This is the sequel to Legend, and I have read Legend and I enjoyed it, and I read it back in September. So before picking this book up, I read like the Wikipedia plotline so I could just remember exactly what happened in Legend, as I had a little bit like faint ideas of what happened, but I'd kind of forgotten a lot, so it was good to just refresh my mind before jumping into this book. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was better than Legend. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars, and currently I'm reading Champion and loving it also. So these are the books I read in the month of September, and I'd love to know what you read in the month of September and what was your favourite read of the month. So like this video if you liked it, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye!